Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in your earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Do you think anyone's ever made cheese into the shape of a crucifix and called it Jesus Christ?
On today's episode, we will be talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is a 1975 film directed by Milos Forman and stars Jack Nicholson, Louise Fletcher, and Danny DeVito. IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. In the fall of 1963, a Korean War veteran and criminal pleads insanity and is admitted to a mental institution, where he rallies up the scared patient against a tyrannical nurse. Here is an original song to support the synopsis.
May I have my cigarettes, please, Nurse Ratchet? May I have my cigarettes, please, Nurse Ratchet? Miss Ratchet, I asked you a question.
Sit still, take your pills. Sit still, take your pills. Sit still, take your pills.
Go fucking crazy.
Sit still, take your pills. Sit still, take your pills. Sit still, take your pills.
Go fucking crazy.
Madness is a product of our environment. Madness is a product of our environment. Madness is a product of our environment.
Go fucking crazy.
This episode was requested by Scott. Thanks for listening, Scott. If you're a listener that would like us to cover a film you love, loathe, or love to loathe, do please get in touch. Let's start with some facts about the film. Many extras were authentic mental patients.
That is mad.
It is mad.
Like, I don't know who's a mental patient in it,
Yeah.
but I did know it was filmed in the Oregon State Mental Institution.
I have to admit, I played a little game that's probably politically incorrect, but I did have a look at the sort of background characters, and I did find myself thinking which one is really like mentally challenged.
A bit of wicked game, especially if someone could give you the answers.
Yeah, and I think there's certain fellas in the cast of this that I think there's no denying that they are struggling with mental health problems, mental disabilities. I mean, if they are acting like that in the background, they deserve a fully fledged career as far as I'm concerned.
Step aside, Day-Lewis.
Yeah, it's very believable.
Is the sloth from Goonies, the bald one?
It's a bald fella with a large
cranium,
life head/neck hybrid.
Yeah, the one they sort of force feed whiskey and he's just smiles. He does look very challenged.
Yeah, it's 2023, so it's a grey area. It's a tricky topic to discuss, but I think it's worth discussing because I think if these people are mentally challenged, they might not necessarily understand the concept of making a film. Then to have all these strange people coming in, moving about so much, I wonder if a film like that could be made in a setting like that today, because surely that could be dangerous to those patients that already reside in such a facility, right?
Maybe, but I do think it's also really good to show what it actually is like inside one of them facilities. Like, I know for a fact Dean Brooks, who plays Dr. John Spivey in this, he's the guy at the start who gives Jack Nicholson his first interview. Yeah, he's real doctor of that hospital. Oh, really? What an exceptional actor. He's so natural. I guess if it's your day-to-day, you wouldn't be acting. You'd just be recollecting a standard day in the office, right? He's a real doctor in real life, I think. And that's the hospital he worked in, and he gave permission for the film to be filmed there. Yeah. And he played a part in it. And I think he's a very forward-thinking doctor. So he was there overseeing. So he was there to help if anything went wrong, I suppose. But I don't think they're violent. I think it's more... Yeah, they don't fit in society, do they? That's exactly it. Yeah, they need to be under supervision, under constant care, and I think that's a great little fact as well. That the guy that's actually it's their duty to deal with these patients day to day is actually on set. Number one, making sure that everyone that is a resident there is okay, and number two, using his actual experiences to basically play himself. Yeah, Dean Brooks. I like that. Yeah. Louise Fletcher was so upset with the fact that the other cast members could laugh and be happy while she had to be so cold and heartless that near the end of production she removed her dress and stood in only her panties to prove to the cast members she was not a cold-hearted monster. Amazing. Love to hear it, don't you? Love to hear it. Yeah. One of my likes. Yeah, she's iconic, Louise Fletcher, in her cold-hearted role as Nurse Ratched. And I don't remember seeing her in anything else.
But as soon as it's hard to separate the actor from the character, especially when it's done so well. Like, I've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest so many times, and spoiler alert, it's one of my favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
Every time I see her, I forget that it is an actor doing a job. She's so believable, so engaging as that just cold-hearted bitch that is just so stern, so fierce.
So easy to hate.
Yeah.
And she does an amazing job at like hiding her sadism like behind the rules and regulations. That's what freaks me out.
Yeah.
Look, she's using what's available to her to get her way with mental patience.
Yeah.
It's not like she's taking down a big corporate position and becoming the new CEO through like sabotage and stuff. She's doing it to mental patience.
Well, she's like a sociopathic duck, isn't she? So on the surface, she's this calm and cool, nothing phases her. But underneath, those feet, they're going nuts. Mm-hmm. She's peddling, she's thinking, how can I mess with these people? And you're right. To be in a position of undoubted power to these vulnerable men in this vulnerable position, to get almost a kick, and you get that sense because when you see her clashing constantly with McMurphy, she gets a little buzz. You can tell in her eyes the way she performs it. She's happy that she gets one up on this troublemaker. Yeah, and I think a lesser actor would have really lessened the film. And I think she's fantastic. And I love that her herself, the actor Louise Fletcher, wanted to show everyone, look, I'm not this bitch in real life. Look,
I'm warm-blooded.
Yeah, here's me in my underwear. I'm just a person. I like a laugh too. Like, you can approach me after filming. I am cool, I am chill, I'm not Nurse Ratched.
It can't be easy, can it, taking on such a role where you're just such a despot, so horrible. It must be really hard on an actor. And I mean, you read stories sometimes about how it's affected people doing like their performances, or in real life, like in Midsummer, you know, the guy who's forced to have sex with a girl whilst loads of women are around him, like touching his butt, and he says that's still with him today. You imagine trying to have sex with someone and you're thinking of 20 women around me with their boobies out. Last
time I got some wetty, I was getting assisted by a group of women being thrusted in and out. That would be I couldn't get over that.
That's so cool. So she literally is like, look, I'm human. Is that Ratchet taking her clothes off?
Yeah, and I think that would be, imagine that you're working with someone. We all know what it's like to work with a proper job's worth, a real busybody, a difficult person, a detestable person. I think the majority of us can relate to that. Imagine that person that you clash with that's really difficult to work with one day just stripped off and was like, I'm chill, really. Like, this is just me at work. Like, I'm actually really chill. That would be really nice. Final fact, included among the 1001 movies you must see before you die, edited by Steven Schneider. Schneider! What did you like about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Straight off the back of your last, not the Schneider fact, but the Louise Fletcher one. Wow. I mean, could anyone else have played such a cold-blooded battle axe?
I don't think so.
She was exceptional.
I can't think of another performance. I mean, there's loads of these sorts of roles within cinema out there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. Maybe Kathy Bates in Misery, when she turns and she starts being a bit sinister and cynical, she's troubling. But I would definitely say, even 50 years on, that Louise Fletcher is Ratched, right up there. It's crazy.
Do you know what was mad as well? It's the little micro expressions. Like, I was watching her, she'd fully embodied the character. I was watching how her face is slightly smiling at Randall whilst also saying, I've got your number, bastard. Yeah. And I'm going to fuck with you until the very last day. Mm-hmm. And she's smiling at him while she does it. And she's got these little micro expressions that her mouth's turned up, the way her eyes sort of looking through him while he's saying, can you turn the music down? She's like, that's for everyone, Mr. McMurphy. And it's so like, I want to strangle you too.
Yeah, she's infuriating. And the way she plays it, the character plays it, she's always in control. And she doesn't have to have an explosive moment of her losing her rag. She does kind of later on in the film, but most of the time she's cool.
But believable.
She's calm, collected, concise. And I think any other actor in that role, you could feel them almost overdoing it. Like you say, it's those micro movements in the face that are so subtle, that makes it so impactful. And I'm right there with you.
And her body language.
Yeah, everything about her, the way she holds herself, the way she sits, the way she communicates with others. Like, she's even her hairstyle stern. Everything about her is just so strict and almost matron-like. Like, you just don't fuck with Ratched.
It's like she's adopted all of the patients as the kid she's not had, and she's Randall's the husband she doesn't have. Her character might actually be married. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Yeah. If she is married, that guy is tied up in a basement somewhere. Yeah. But I think, she's treating them like her children. And that's why she doesn't like discord. She doesn't like Randall because he's the naughty kid.
Well, it's that, isn't it? It's,
undermining authority.
Yeah, it's very much it's my way or the highway. And when her focus should be, right, what can I do to deliver the best care to these vulnerable patients? It's like, no, I've decided the course. If you go against the course, you go against me. If you go against me, you're going to be in fucking trouble.
She's just a nosy biatch.
She is, man. And I'll tailgate off of that. One of my favourite things is the nurse versus nuisance mentality. The on-screen rivalry between McMurphy and Ratched is one of the greatest ever seen on screen.
I wrote that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, the unspoken push for power, the continuous back and forth, and the stubborn standoffs that they have throughout the film are formidable. And the execution of this is a direct result of superbly written characters and full commitments from the actors playing them. I think it's the perfect showdown of charisma versus cruelty, and I'll never tire of watching them battle it out.
No.
It's superb, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's to do with how weirdly attracted people are to the mental home environments.
Yeah.
There's something about it that's just so, like, awe-inspiringly weird, and you just can't turn away from it. That's why the film is so captivating, and their battle that they have in this pond, because you called her a duck.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you for keeping...
I don't ever want to leave that pond.
Thank you for keeping that analogy alive. I appreciate it. Yeah, I certainly agree. What else did you like about the film?
You ought to be out in convertibles, bird dogging chicks and banging beaver, man. What the hell is bird dogging? I love that.
I don't know.
Love that expression.
He as a character's fantastic as well, isn't he? Old RP
mate, some of the quotes. I mean, what else needs to be said after that quote? But no actor could have said that line other than Jack Nicholson. And rewatching it just cements my opinion that Nicholson is one of the best dramatic lead actors to ever grace our screens. Top 3 ever.
I can't disagree. In fact, that's one of my likes as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the man himself, Jack Nicholson, is, like you said, one of the best actors to have ever done it. I don't know about you, but Heath Turner's R.P. McMurphy is one of, if not the best performance of Mr. Nicholson's illustrious career. His portrayal of troubled criminal turned institutionalized patient is layered, energetic, and almost effortlessly engaging. It's an iconic character from an actor who was playing at the peak of his powers. I miss him. I know he's old now, and I know he's retired. And I think the last film or the last major film he did was The Departed. And you see other actors of a similar age that are still churning out films.
He's excellent in Departed.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Morgan Freeman. I'm looking at you, Michael Caine. I'm looking at you, Bobby De Niro. You're ruining your legacy.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, he's getting there, isn't he? And it's just sad. Like, at least Jack Nicholson, I miss him. I miss him on screen. He, like you say, he's a presence, one of the best to have ever done it. I don't like that I don't get to see him on screen anymore because he is fantastic.
But I think that's why he's amazing. I think he's amazing because no one else acted like him. No one.
No.
He would always bring a part of himself into a role, and you could see it. Like, he doesn't, even though there's lines and he knows his line's coming up, he'll spend a couple of minutes thinking, I'm going to have a look out that window, and then I'm going to do a little fidget. And he's not actually thinking it, he's just doing it.
Yeah.
And there's something so oddly natural about him.
It's reactionary, isn't it?
Oh, it's so good. The only thing I can liken it to is like the naturalistic acting you get at the very start of Alien between the crew, Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton and Ian Holm. The way they're sitting there chatting, it's such natural conversation.
Yeah.
And that for me has always been the greatest thing in film for me. If something is so believable, and that's what he gives me, believability.
In every role.
That's what I love.
In every role as well.
In every role. And De Niro does do it to a degree, but there's not a character De Niro has like that does for me what McMurphy does for me.
Yeah.
I can relate to McMurphy almost.
Yeah.
And even his character in The Shining, Torrance, I'm just like, he's just excellent. He embodies characters and he fulfills them 100%.
Yeah, I think in this film, I think Nicholson treads that fine line between being someone who's just anti-establishment, anti-being told what to do, is a bit bitter because of his time in the war. He's probably got a hint of PTSD. He's probably
100%.
fighting demons, but he's still
got a service cross in the war, so it means he was brave. He saw some shit.
But you can tell he's full of character, he's full of personality, and he's at his most dangerous when he feels like he's being unfairly treated by authority.
Or seeing people be treated unfairly.
Yeah, I mean, in another world, his character, R.P. McMurphy, you see when he breaks them all out of the cuckoo's nest and he takes them fishing, he would be great as someone that works with those sort of people, those mentally challenged people. Yeah, you could see him in another world. If he wasn't in the mental institution as a resident, he could actually work there because he's really good with them. They warm to him. He's full of character, full of charisma. And yeah, again, like Louise Fletcher Fletcher as Nurse Ratched. I couldn't imagine anyone else in the role of R.P. McMurphy.
No.
The man's extraordinary.
They should be so proud of this film, still to this day.
Yeah.
As old as it is, not what, 1975?
Yeah, I
They
believe
should
so.
be so proud of it. It is such an incredible film.
Yeah,
Really is.
definitely.
I just feel like I'd cry almost then.
It's
I cried
okay.
last night watching it. I got really emotional, man.
It's okay,
Oh,
man. You can watch it again. It's all good.
Oh.
Got any more likes for me? Probably loads.
I spoke about it at the start. Dr. John Spivey, so he's played by Dean Brooks. Again, acting, it's just so realistic. That back and forth he has with Nicholson at the start over the desk, and it's the second film that Jack Nicholson, within the first 10 minutes of the film, is the other side of a desk getting interviewed to stay in a place, being asked why he's going to be staying there, and ends up dying in the place because of The Shining, exactly the same.
That's amazing.
And
Yeah.
Scatman Crothers is in it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot that Scatman
Circle.
was in it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. He travelled all the way in The Shining just to get an axe in the chest.
Yeah.
I love it.
And in this film, he travelled all the way to work to fucking lose his job.
It's the Scatman syndrome.
Yeah.
There's characters called the Scatman effect, I reckon. Anyway, yeah, so Dr. John Spivey, played by Dean Brooks, absolutely excellent. Realistic, very realistic at acting, but also was a doctor, fought in the war, opened hospitals, worked on mental wards. He's a real go-getter.
And if nothing else, if you're in charge of making this film, what a way to save some money. Because he's going to be there at work every day anyway.
What a way to make some money.
Yeah, making money in his day-to-day job. And it's like, you're going to be here for your normal job that you do before we was here. Yeah. Can you do it, but in front of a camera, and we'll probably pay you a little bit more? You'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, loved it, man.
I had no idea that he was an actual doctor. And I think that's testament to his performance, because not once was I sitting there sniffing something out going, he's not very good. There's not one part of me that's like, he distracts me a bit. He can't act. I thought he was a genuine actor. So he's obviously doing something right.
It was so believable.
Yeah.
All the scenes with all the psychiatrists, the way they're sitting in the rooms talking about it,
Yeah.
very believable. It makes me think actually probably they were all probably real doctors. And he just
thinking
and
about
I think that's great. When it works, it really works.
Yeah.
Really works.
Any more likes for me?
Loads. Won't be able to cover them all.
Yeah.
Too many.
It's that, isn't it? It's such a classic, stone cold classic.
Whole cast.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's my first and biggest like about it, is that it is a stone cold classic. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a timeless classic that shows how a decent film can balance drama with comedy. It's superbly written, directed and performed, and the film always takes me on a roller coaster of emotion and is still exceptional entertainment almost half a century after its release.
Boom.
Now, it's that we speak about longevity in films. We see films now, we see films back in the day. You know, we speak of 90s films that's ruined by nostalgia because we held it in such high regard when we were younger.
Yep.
I saw this film when I was probably a teenager, early 20s. It's one of my most rewatched films. Not once have I watched it and the quality of the piece is lessened. Any minor dislikes I have and I go onto it are just that they're there for the sake of picking it apart.
Of course,
ordinarily, I wouldn't even be saying those things, but yeah, it's just an absolute classic that I've watched it twice in a week. If you told me, Adam, go home and watch it now, I'd happily do it. It's brilliant.
Story and performance, I think they're the key ingredients for longevity. If the story's gripping and the performances are believable and executed, it will always be watchable.
And struggling with behavioural issues, mental illness, I don't think that's something that's we're going to evolve out of. I think to be human
Natural
is
product.
to have those emotions, to have those disabilities. Like I don't see time might improve it, but I don't think it will ever be fully gone.
I think the only difference is with it now is that they tell people that you can't help who you are because you've got these problems. So it's okay to not do that. I think you can live with mental illness and still get the most out of life. I think that's the only difference. When they didn't talk about it, you couldn't filter out the genuine cases from just, I feel a little down from the genuine cases. So you don't know if someone's going to shoot up a school or someone's going to kill themselves. Yeah. It's hard to sift through it. Nowadays, it's all out on the table. Everywhere you can just say, I've got anxiety, and you'll see a doctor, you'll get off work and everything. Yeah. It's a different time for mental health.
Yeah. Society as a whole has adapted to better sort of medicate and remedy it. Back in the day, it would just be hysteria and you'd get that electric shock therapy, which is madness, or you'd get a lobotomy, which is madness.
Dude, why is one of your nails pink?
Did you have to bring this up on the podcast?
I just saw it flash.
It's just for me, mate.
We need to go into that later.
Well, my missus was painting her nails a hot pink and I was feeling frivolous and silly And I was like,
A hot pink.
give me a bit of that. And she did one. I was like, I don't mind it. And I was like, do all of them. She's like, no, I'm not doing all of them. I was like, it's 2023, Emma. If me as a straight male want all my nails hot pink, you cannot tell me no. Then she said, it's my nail polish. And I was like, yeah, that's fair.
Mate, I can't wait to see your toes later.
My toes have not been touched. I did ask for them. But I like it, man. I don't care. Thanks for noticing. Is there anything you didn't like about the film?
Yeah, well, while we're on colour, so...
oh, hello, there he is.
Poor choice of blood colour for old Billy's suicide. It was like a Cinnabar orange.
Can I say something?
It looked like he was testing out a new colour for his kitchen.
Can I say something?
Yeah, man.
That's my first dislike.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. I love that when we're synced up, man.
Yeah.
It's proper synced up on the same cycle.
It's great, isn't it?
Mega.
It looks like cheap ketchup that you'd get in a British fairground food truck.
Oh, man.
It's too red.
Yep.
It's too red. It's a nice red. It would look good on my nails, but not as used for blood.
See, I went and looked at a Dulux sort of a colour sample.
What are you saying, vermilion?
No, I have it down as Cinnabar orange.
Oh, Cinnabar orange.
Cinnabar orange.
Yeah.
Even though it is red, there is an orange tint to its overall body and volume.
You know when you don't shake a ketchup and you get that arse dribble water with the first squid? You know that one?
Arse dribble. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Poo water.
Yeah, but with if you don't shake the ketchup and you put it on your plate and you're like, oh, that's fucking ruined my dinner now because it's watery nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that. Nothing like, but very vivid and red. And that's probably the only thing I think ages the film is the blood, because it's like that not good enough.
Yeah, 1975, there were films where we had realistic blood. We had some horrific blood in some scenes. Blood is a bit darker.
Yeah, thicker,
a bit darker. It didn't look right.
It's not watery ketchup discharge.
Nah, and it's weird. It's weird. It's the only thing I can think of that cheapens it. Genuinely cheapens the film.
Agree, yeah.
And it is the only thing, and it's so annoying. Because I think with today's special effects, Milos Forman or whoever wants to take on the project, is he dead? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But they could go in and digitise that blood now and make it better.
Yeah, they did all the Star Wars shite.
Yeah.
And changed Jabba so he didn't look like such a whatever he looked like. They made it look more realistic. How do you make a creature like Jabba more realistic?
Physical Jabba was a lot better than CGI Jabba.
Yeah.
CGI Jabba, when Han Solo walks on his tail and he goes, because they realise he can't walk behind him without touching his tail, was awful. Why the fuck are we talking about that?
I don't know, man. It just happened. Any more dislikes?
It's not a dislike. It's more like a personal thing. McMurphy... He's the instigator almost in the early doors. You know, the card shuffling when she's holding a meeting.
Yeah, he don't help himself.
He doesn't help himself, and I hate antagonists. People that like to antagonise people.
Yeah.
Being the victim of an antagonist myself once, a few times probably, where they just want to draw the worst out of you for their own satisfaction. I think it's next to rape as one of the worst things on earth, to antagonise someone, to get them angry, to make them unhappy, because you get a kick out of seeing them fall apart.
That speaks to the character. If you're doing it just to get someone to flare up and get
because
nasty,
you're unhappy.
Yeah, it's just a bit like, well, deal with your unhappiness.
And she obviously does it to him as well. But I think to myself, I don't want you to die, Randall. I don't want you to get pillowed.
Yeah.
Please don't do it. And every time the film starts and he sits there and he decides to shuffle the cards really loudly, and she looks at him because she knows that's just him being flagrant, being naughty.
Yeah.
And she knows it. And it's the beginning of what becomes like a snowball into a bloody mountain. It's like, and it winds me up that he wants to antagonise her because he thinks he's going to get out regardless, and he's just got it easy for 60 days in a nut house.
He doesn't realise the extent of the power that this institution has. Like if they say, well, yeah, you've done your 68 days, but guess what? We still don't think you're safe to be out in the public. You're
and
still
they
a
keep
threat.
him indefinitely.
Exactly, and he only realises that later on. But if he had the fortitude to be like, I'm here for 60 days, like he says when he first walks into the building, he's like, I'm just going to do my time, get out. There's nothing wrong with me. If he'd just done that, it'd have been a happy ending for Mr. McMurphy, and it would have been a lesser film. But I agree, he's sort of the fulfiller of his own destiny, because he started the stubborn off.
Yeah.
If he didn't do that with the card, she wouldn't have been like, I see you as a threat, I see you as a problem, I've got your number, right? You're one to watch out for.
He could have been smart about it.
Yeah.
He could have been a silent saboteur and fucked with her without her knowing who's fucking with me.
Exactly, yeah. He could have been smart about it. And the whole, like, getting everyone to get the majority vote to watch the baseball.
Yeah.
He could have brought it up. She said, no, you need to get a mass vote. He could have behind the scenes. They got nothing
Told
else
them
to
all.
do and be like, look, I'm going to bring this up again. Would you like to watch baseball? Manipulate them on the sly. And then when it comes to it, all voted. It wouldn't have gone all nuts
Yeah.
and gone kicked off. And
Littlefinger,
Yeah, exactly.
Lady Macbeth,
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
Do it in the background and
Yeah.
win.
Sneak it.
Win through subterfuge. But
Sneak attack.
how fun is it when he says in the meeting when he realises she's got a lot of power and actually he's not going to win that fight, and he's like, well, I don't want to break up the meeting or nothing, but she's something of a carnage.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, what's crazy? What do you want me to do? You want me to shit on the floor? Do you want me to shit on the floor?
Yeah.
Love it.
He's just brilliant in it, yeah. I think that's something that's always resonated with me. It's like character choices within the film. It's like, I understand why they're there because the film has to move in a certain way. There has to be the plight, there has to be the conflict resolution, there has to be all these things to get the film to finish in a certain way. But there's so many little things that if they were done differently, the outcome would have been different. And it's testament to the film because you're sitting there going, I want the character to make the right decision so he doesn't end up dead or doesn't end up worse or lobotomized or whatever. So yeah.
I love him like the chief loves him in the end.
Yeah.
Because the chief starts off, he's like, I'm going to stay mute, I'm going to stay dumb. And then Randall, just through Randall being Randall actually sacrifices his life in a way for these guys, for these patients, to have a better, to see that life is a bigger picture. It's not in these four walls or this pond, if you will.
Yeah.
From Ducky.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that Chief's like, he actually cries. He pulls him up to him when he's been lobotomized and he's like, we're going to go now. Come on, it's time. And I'm not going to leave you like this.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that he helped Chief punch through all of that.
Yeah.
And it's only by him being Randall that he managed to do it. But Randall has to die.
Yeah.
For the Chief to get his freedom.
Yes.
Exactly. I hope they never found him.
Yeah.
I hope he did make it into them mountains.
And I hope he lived a fulfilling
existence. A luscious life.
I think as well, that's a testament to R.P. McMurphy's character. On the surface, he's an anarchist. He brings trouble wherever he goes. He's prone to violent outbursts. He doesn't like authorities, all these things. But twice within the film, he could have legged it.
Yeah.
He goes over the fence. There's nothing stopping him just wandering off. But instead he gets on the bus and takes them out for a mega day out. Gives them probably one of the best days of their life where they're on the ocean, fishing, having a great time, not restricted by rules and restrictions from controlling nurses and stuff like that. And the other one, him and Chief could have just bowled out that open window. But instead he
feels at home.
He wanted to give Bibbit away to get his end away and stayed and ended up, dying as a result.
Yeah, he had many opportunities to escape.
Yeah.
Flawed.
Any more dislikes for me?
Yeah, Roger Ebert, man, that motherfucker.
What did he do?
He gave it 3 stars, which I know isn't awful because he's a 4-star freak, isn't he? Is he a 4-star guy?
Yeah,
Ebert's always works on a 4-star system.
Yeah.
But he also had a lot of negative things to say about it. So he wasn't like 100% like, this film's actually, for its time, this film would have been huge because 1975 is an amazing subject and one that everyone should see. But dude, he gave The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle a 3, Anaconda a 3, Land of the Lost a 3, Ghost of Mars a 3, and The Happening a 3. Right. He thinks The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle is on level with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he won a fucking Nobel Prize for criticism.
I'll say this.
Say it.
I understand doing this podcast. Sometimes a film's a 7 and you give another film a 7 and one's clearly better than the other. And I do get that. That's the nature of the beast when you're rating films. But saying that, if you said to me, we're going to watch a double feature now based on Roger Ebert's ratings of the film, first up, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I'm thinking, well, that's got to be a 4-star. Yeah. And then next up is Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I haven't seen, but I don't need to see to know that it's not my cup of tea. To say that in theory on that rating system, they're on a level playing field is nonsense.
It's crazy.
Because this is a fantastic film. The other one's about a moose and what's the other one?
Some animated moose thing. Anaconda's probably the most shocking of them.
Yeah, that's just a creature feature, right?
Oh, it's awful. It's one of the heaviest panned films ever. I get it. It's shit and good. It's shit. It's good because it's shit.
Yeah, good trash is fine.
It is, but you can't compare the two. One is going to be in the National Archives for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
and will be. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is in Akira Kurosawa's top 100 films of all time. One of the best directors in the world considers it one of the greatest films of all time. And he's Japanese. Yeah. Who's this prick? Ebert. The Happening. Have you seen The Happening?
That Wahlberg.
It is the shittest Shyamalan film ever.
And that's saying something.
It's so bad. No, he's got a lot of bad films. Avatar, old. Airbender, sorry. Yeah, he wanted to call it Avatar, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one of my dislikes. I can't believe that there was so much room for criticism towards this film from the Nobel Prize winning bloody critic.
That's odd.
Yeah.
That's odd for me. Like films that I hold in such high regard, like Forrest Gump, if I don't have my fanboy hat on, I can see, if I look at it critically, I can kind of see why people don't love it as much as me, and I accept that. I get it. Other films that I rate really highly, like Banshees of Inisherin, which we've done recently on the podcast, I love it. I can see why some people wouldn't.
Yeah, because they just see straight white male.
Yeah, and a silly conflict where they throw fingers as a result of some weird beef. But something like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is human. It speaks to being in a sort of such a desperate landscape of not being in control of your own inhibitions, of all these things that most of us thankfully won't fully understand.
It's a looking glass into a real thing.
And like you said earlier, that's fascinating to people. Like serial killers, you're always going to be fascinated with things that's a bit macabre, a little bit sinister, that you don't fully understand, because it is intriguing. And when you get a eye-opening insight like a film like this, like Seven, into the mind of a serial killer, I think, like you said, it's important viewing. And to give it anything less than 4 of the 4 stars to me seems what's dropped it down. I can't see anything that would drop it down from a 4 to a 3.
Madness. And that was current when he reviewed it. It was current, so it weren't like we could sit there and say camera's a bit shaky during the boat scenes.
Yeah, blood was a bit
off. He wouldn't have even known in 1975. He was picking on how it was anti-establishment and stuff, and being annoyed that it was more about like teenagers or university students going, yeah, fuck the system. It's like, come on, man.
Is it that though?
Well,
I guess McMurphy as a character
but
is.
That is a real thing. Like McMurphy was seeing a squirrel on a wire fence, and at any point the squirrel could be in the institution, or it could be free. And he looks at the squirrel and he carries on about his day. It's speaking about him.
It's
and
symbolic.
It's symbolic.
Yeah.
But yeah, escaping in the bus and going out for a day can just be escaping in a bus and going out for a day because you want to give a gift to your friends.
Yeah, it shows that this deeply troubled character has got a good side to him. Like, it's anarchy, him going that, it's against the rules. It could be a stick it to the man, but it could be like these poor fuckers, especially when you learn most of them are there voluntarily.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to be there. So him giving them a mega day out, what's wrong with that? That's great.
Absolutely nothing.
Any more dislikes for me?
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like yours, mine are minor, so I'll get through them fairly swifty. And it's the demise of Billy Bibbit. It doesn't matter how many times I watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I always get deeply saddened at how Billy's story pans out. Sure, he's a little creepy, a tad obsessive, and holds more than a hint of the unhinged. But the way the happiest moment in his life is taken away from him out of fear of mummy repercussion, it always troubles me.
She weaponised it.
Yeah.
That was unprofessional.
Yeah.
And there is no space to make someone feel that.
And we spoke about how good Louise Fletcher is as Nurse Ratched. In that moment, you see her eyes, you almost see a flame in her eyes, and she's like, no, this don't rest. And she manipulates him. She knows that Billy Bibbit's biggest fear is his mum. That's probably why the stutter is a controlling mother who dictates everything he does. He's terrified of his mum, terrified of a woman figure in power. Instead of like focusing on clearing everything within the hospital that has been trashed, she focuses on what he's done wrong to make him feel shit.
Yeah, I think she is emotionally stunted and sexually stunted.
Yeah.
I think knowing that Billy, this young boy who she sort of sees as a son figure, I think she wants to be in the bed after getting ploughed. I think because it's human nature.
Yeah.
I think she's sexually frustrated as well, and she looks at sex as a bad thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem comfortable in it, does she?
Because she wants to be fulfilled and possibly isn't. She's taking that out on everyone else. And it's almost like, how dare he, a mental patient? How dare he?
What is there to be ashamed about? It's amazing.
Like, you should be thinking, maybe this will help the lad.
Of course it helped.
Because he's already proposed to someone that he hardly know. We find that out within the film. You can tell he's obsessed with women because he's not had a healthy relationship with women, and he wants to explore his sexuality, his wants, his lusts, his desires, and all of that. And he's punished for it in one moment by some stingy, stern nurse.
Did you notice he's stutter eased after he'd had sex.
Yeah.
So when he first came in, because the guys were clapping and stuff, it was like this, that's what it is to be growing up.
Yeah.
That's what it is to be experiencing life. And it eases a bit. And then obviously it triples in severity when she threatens to tell his mum.
What would your mother think? Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that's another thing that Ebert had a dig at. It was like, it was too obvious. What's too obvious? It's just saying that when he's happy, his stutter eases. That's true.
Yeah.
That is true in people with Tourette's.
Yeah.
When things are going right, it eases. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Stress and anxiety induces it.
Of course it does, yeah.
So, crazy, bro.
I think it's always something like Billy is played exceptionally well by Brad Dourif.
Oh.
And I think he's brilliant. The stutter, you've seen it in films. I'm looking at you, Sissy Spacek, in The Straight Story. You see other films, like with someone portraying someone with a stutter. It's so hammy, it's so over the top, it's almost caricature-like, and it's really distracting. But the way Dourif does it is brilliant. And every time I watch the film, I know what's happening, and I see Billy's little world turn upside down when he walks out that room, arse bollock naked, falls over, he's happier than a pig in shit. And then you just see all that Nurse Ratched has to say is mum, and then it goes awful for him. And I can never quite get over that. It's like, you didn't have to do that. It's like character decisions. She didn't have to do that. He could still be alive if you weren't a bitch.
Yeah.
R.P. McMurphy wouldn't have strangled you, and everything would have been fine.
This is why you have to be so careful when you're dealing with people with them conditions, because suicide can be sudden.
Yeah.
It can come out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, it could be potentially it's on the horizon, and almost everyone in there probably potentially has the capacity to kill themselves because they are mentally unstable. But it can come out of nowhere and something can trigger it. And she knew the trigger. So I doubt she would have actually kept her job. I think they would have looked at the turn of events and say, well, you've used a stressor against him. That's unprofessional. You're out.
Well, especially preceding that, some women broke into the hospital. They had a piss up. One of them had sex, then killed himself. You not only are out of job, you're probably facing the authorities.
Sounds like a wild party.
Yeah,
man.
it does. Yeah,
Wild party.
yeah.
Oh, that's sad, actually. Sorry, I interrupt you, but Dourif, he's such a phenomenal actor. And his choice of film, or the things he has been in, barring his role as Dr. Cochrane in Deadwood, is phenomenal. Won a Primetime Emmy for it. And Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings played that excellently.
Great, yeah.
But other than that, he does some really odd films, you know. It's just like, he's always been extreme characters, always. His least extreme character is Dr. Cochrane in Deadwood, which was excellently played.
Do you think he's burdened with the weight of Billy? Because in his young career, he was such a sort of iconic...
He doesn't do it for money.
He does it for
He's
the
a
art.
bit like Billy Crudup in that respect. He waits for the roles he wants to play, regardless of their caliber. Like I think he did the voice of Chucky, didn't he?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did the voice of Chucky. I know he was in the Chuckies, but I've never watched any of them. I never wanted to.
Not interested. Yeah,
I couldn't watch them. Oh no, I won't bring that up.
Okay, all right. My final dislike is Scatman Schlong.
Scatman Crothers.
Scatman Schlong.
You see,
his character's Schlong.
Schlong.
Think about it.
His character Schlong.
McMurphy and Bibbit
Turkle.
die. Yeah. McMurphy and Bibbit die because of one man thinking with his penis.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
He lets in some women because he is lonely on night shift, and then has the audacity to moan about a ward of mentally challenged individuals putting his job at risk. Unprofessional decisions that cost two people their lives. And
but he wouldn't have. But Randall still wouldn't have escaped without him opening the door.
Yeah, but it's like he gets a hint of some lady companionship, and he's just like, "Go on then, come on in." And then he's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" He's like, "How did you think this would pan out? Like, you're bringing booze and women into a mental institution."
I don't think he thought all the others would get up.
I think he was more focused on getting one thing up, and that was the problem. and we talk about it in the film. The main dislikes is character decisions, and that's one of the big things for me. And again, it's a diet dislike just to throw something.
I think he gave up too quick. I actually might join you on this one. Yeah, he gave up too quick in repairing the damage it done. He could still have hidden the.
He kicked them all out, locked the door, and went for a snooze. I would be like, right. Give me the alcohol, you clean this, you help me pick this back up. Right, we're going to sort this all out before you go to bed. Right, you're going to bed now. Done, sort it.
I forgot how funny that scene is when they're all hiding from the supervisor in the dark room and they don't know where he is, Turkle. And they're like, where is he? He should go out there and say her. And someone goes, maybe he's jerking off, and he goes, ain't nobody jerking off, no one, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's great. He is
It's like
great. in
naughty
it.
kids in a cupboard.
Yeah, he is fantastic in it. And listen, that dislike, I'm not going to lie, I just really wanted to say
I'm with you.
Scatman Schlong. Just wanted to say it, mate. Big fan of alliteration here. I've got some questions. What modern day actor would you like to see star in a film set in a mental institution?
Kevin Bacon.
That was unexpected.
I like bacon.
I love bacon.
So good with ketchup. So good.
Only if you shake the bottle, though.
Bacon's always played a very, very good despot. I've used that word twice. Why am I doing
I've
this?
never heard this word.
Despot's like doomed to be bad.
Okay.
Like a nasty, dark soul.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
When you said despot, I think Deskbot, a little robot that brings you your stapler or something, but that's just how my mind works.
Deskbot?
Yeah, I thought I kept, why are you saying Deskbot?
Hello, master.
Yeah. Okay, so I did not expect Kevin Bacon. Is he a modern day actor?
Well, he still does O2 phone adverts.
He does. Yeah.
Of course he is. Well,
Okay.
how old is he? 55?
He 50s, 60s, I say. Gotta be.
Give me more definition to modern day actor. What do you mean? If they're still acting, are they not modern day?
That's fair.
No.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, mate.
Okay, so if I was to go more current, more young, no, I want to put my Gosling in there, but I don't think he could do mental. Can we even say mental anymore? I don't think he could do it. No, he couldn't, because he can't fall in love and have his heart broken.
That's where he excels, isn't it?
That's where he excels.
Yeah.
And I'm always there with him. I'm holding his hand.
For me, when I asked myself this question, my answers were Robert Pattinson.
No.
I think he could nail it. I don't care. I think he'd nail it. Lakeith Stanfield. He could do it. He could do a good job. Yeah, he could. Yeah.
I just think some actors are too strong in the strong roles.
But I think charisma is part and parcel of playing this sort of character. Like R.P. McMurphy, Jack Nicholson's character, is not necessarily fundamentally crazy. He's driven to insanity by experience and authority and all these things. I think it's such a layered thing, mental disability and mental challenges, that any established charismatic actor could
Stephen
do a
Graham.
decent job. Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
Easies.
He was in that show about the pandemic where he played someone with early onset dementia, and he was fantastic.
I'd never watched that.
With Jodie Comer. I wish I didn't.
Anything related to that shit.
I can't. No,
The worst years ever.
Yeah,
Not because of the disease, because of how they said it was worse than a war. Oh, go and swivel on a big old spiky cactus, you old fat fuck.
Okay. Second question: what are your top 3 Jack Nicholson performances? Doesn't have to be in order. Can just be any 3.
A Few Good Men,
Oh,
The Shining,
yeah.
and obviously Randall McMurphy, baby.
Yeah, I forgot about A Few Good Men. I'm kicking myself. Mine are One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
The Pledge.
The Shine, The Pledge. Not actually, he's not bad in it. The film,
Detective.
The film's not great. So yeah, his performance in this film, like you say, The Shining and The Departed. I just think he's fantastic. in
Oh
The
shit!
Departed. Yeah,
But there's more. Easy Rider, Chinatown.
yeah. There's so many.
There's loads.
Even it's not one of his best by a long shot, but even in Batman as Joker, like he walked so Ledger and others could run. He played that so over the top, and he's like, you know what, you can do this, and it still be almost believable.
I'd still
weirdly.
take his Joker over Ledger's any day.
Really?
Yeah, not the film,
No.
but I would take Nicholson's Joker over that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Okay. Final question. Films such as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest are timeless classics that can still be enjoyed decades after their release. Can you think of a recent film that you think will be considered timeless in the future?
Silence, Scorsese, 2016.
Yeah. I'll give you
It's
that.
not everyone's cup of tea. Slow, long, quiet film. Exceptional though.
Yeah,
One of probably the best film I've ever watched on religion, and I do think it will stand the test of time. Lighthouse,
Yeah.
because Lighthouse is already out of its time
Yeah.
because of the way it was filmed, the aesthetic choices that were made in the film. Parasite.
Yeah.
I think Parasite would be a great
Class,
watch.
yeah, class,
and
yeah.
for me, Licorice Pizza. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dog.
I thought we'd have a few there same, but I'm kind of glad we didn't.
No, I don't think we ever would.
No.
No, there's too much going on between us.
For me, The Banshees of Inisherin, I think is timeless. Like you say, if it's set in a time that predates the time we're currently living in, it's already doing half the battle because it's
well put.
It's set earlier, so it doesn't really matter because we're not living in that world now. The other two are more questionable.
Okay.
But I'll stand by it. The Joker. And I know a lot of people dislike that film, and I know the longer we are further removed from that film, more and more people seem to be coming out of the woodwork and disliking it. For me, it doesn't have necessarily a timestamp in it. It's not time-stamped by technology or anything like that. It could easily be in the 80s, the 90s, now, early 2000s, whatever. And I think it speaks of sort of inherited trauma and fighting male struggles and stuff.
It's not going to be a standalone film though, so I think you'll be changing your mind after seeing the second one.
That's valid. Yeah, that's valid.
I do think it will dilute it. I refuse to believe. I refuse to believe that film will be good. It's got Lady Gaga in it, for fuck's sake.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am troubled by the fact that it's billed as a musical.
That's because they're losing their minds, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll save judgment for when it comes out. I'm excited to see it, and you're probably right. Once it becomes 2 to 5 films, that first one will lessen its impact.
Cash cow.
Yeah, and the final film is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Oh, boom!
It's just sweet, man.
That carnage, can it? It's impossible.
Well, it speaks of being pure, being innocent, and not being sort of polluted by this society's obsession with technology and social media and all of that stuff. It's just good. It's pure. It's food for the soul. And I think I struggle to think how a film that centers on a shell that's found.
Oh, so you mean at the heart of it as well, not just not just aesthetically.
Yeah, I think all of it. I think it will stand the test of time.
Definitely.
And I could be wrong.
No.
10 years down the line, I might listen to this episode and go, no, I got that wrong.
No, not at all. Not with something like that.
I doubt it. What would you rate One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest out of 10?
10. It has to be, man. I watching it again last night, and it has been years since I watched it. I did go in with that nuisance nostalgia thinking, fudge. I mean, I always knew about the blood. I always knew about it. That fucking blood. That Cinnabon orange. But yeah, within 5 minutes, I was hooked again, and I was just like, Jesus, it is so good. The acting.
Those minor dislikes we mentioned earlier, they're not enough to take anything away from it.
No,
they're so minute. They're not even worth bringing up.
No.
I'm exactly the same. It's one of the few perfect films, so I would give it a 10 as well.
I never thought we'd get more than one perfect film in the first season.
Well, listen, I don't know if we would have reviewed this film if it wasn't for Scott requesting it. So it might have come in season 2, season 3, season whenever. We might have done it eventually, but not necessarily so close together to 7.
Yeah, because we want it to be a proud stamp.
Yeah.
A World Cup every 4 years.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be giving films 20s all the time. So 7 is the only one that's been given it. And thanks to you, Scott. Thanks to you, man. We have to do this again.
But the film deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
That gives One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest a total score of 20 out of 20.
Mm.
If you like your films to be classic, concerning and chaotically comedic, or if you have ever wanted to see Jack Nicholson command a community of crazies, then One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest could be a film for you. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed Girl Interrupted, Awakenings and Shutter Island. Should we play a game?
Yeah.
The game in question is What the Plot, where the rules are simple and the results quite the opposite. Harry will conceive an original idea from his big and beautiful brain and give birth to a plot. It is then down to me to nurture this thought by providing a film title, genre, cast, and anything else I can think of to raise this brainchild into a fully functioning film concept. Over to you, Harry.
A woman crosses the Atlantic ice fields in search for her estranged husband, to inform him that the last of their children has passed away from the -vit-D illness. That's the -vit-D illness. And to kill him for quickening their death with his absence. This is the first part. Do you have any questions so far?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Vit-D.
This is not real. This is I've created this illness. -vit-D. And if you take note, she's crossing the Atlantic ice fields. So this is an apocalyptic world where the sun can no longer penetrate the earth. Everything's fucking frozen. Anyway, so she's gone looking for her estranged husband to tell him that the last of their children have died, and she's going to kill him because him leaving only made her plight harder and her kids died quicker. Anyway, she has to outrun and tackle the last of Earth's bad guys, frost punks and glacier ghouls.
Oh.
Oi! But also new natural forces, ice storms, permafrost, and electrified rain. Bzz.
Okay, I'm going to need all that said back to me because they were too good to not make note.
Yeah. So there's little
Frost
packs.
goblins?
No. Frost goblins. So kind of like, like them Mad Max tribes.
Yeah.
One's Frostpunks.
Frostpunks.
And Glacier Ghouls.
Ooh.
They're just like cannibalistic, like humans that have gone all Channing Tatum on us.
Oh yeah,
in leathers and stuff. But she's tackling them sort of raiding parties as well as like this outlandish weather from how the Earth now is, like ice storms, permafrost, electrified rain. But what happens is, so she's in pursuit of her husband. All her kids have died, and that's why I called it minus Vit D, the illness, because they don't get vitamin D ever. Because the sun's gone, but the mum obviously through years of through being on Earth when the sun was there, she probably acquired enough that she's just kept going a bit stronger. The kids are a lot weaker, obviously lower immune system, so they're dead. She's going to kill her husband, and then she plans to just top herself. But she finally learns of her husband's fate by a diary he kept, which she finds not far from his body in a crevasse, so like an ice crevasse. She realised he always intended to return and save them because he'd heard that salvation lay in the wastes. There's a group called the Seaborn Collective, and they found means to replicate the sun's power through atom collisions and bottling this power into the size of a tic-tac, which could grow life back into the world and melt the ice to create vapour and forests. So she finds out she's gone there to kill him because he left her, and them kids died quicker without the food, without this. But actually he died, fell in the crevasse. Maybe the ghouls got him, or the frostpunks. And then she finds the solution that they've managed to find the power of the sun in this tiny little atom the size of a tic-tac. And they can get the Earth back to vapour and forest and stuff and save it all.
So Mummy Frozen was elsewhere.
She went frozen.
No, but she's in this frozen barren land.
Yeah, so imagine...
So she's gone elsewhere, heard that her son's dead.
No. She was with her kids in, say, the east coast of, say, America, but it's all ice.
Right.
Husband estranged, leaves. Kind of like Charlize Theron at the start of The Road. Yeah. Just fucks off.
Okay.
Like that. And anyway, him not providing, him not helping, quickens the children's death.
I see.
As she buries that last kid, that's the start. She buries the last kid.
So it's vengeance.
Puts on a pack, goes looking for husband in the ice wastes of the Atlantic Sea, which is no longer a sea.
It's your simple, classic lack of communication. If he'd said to the mum, wife, I'm going to go and try and better our fortunes. Yeah. But he didn't. And he probably didn't because the world's gone to shit and he's in frozen barren lands. So
no, because she would have stopped him going.
Yeah, stay here.
So he doesn't tell her.
Okay, that makes sense. He's doing it for the greater good. He's like, I'm going to change our fortunes.
Well, he knows that the kids are probably going to die regardless.
Yeah.
But he's like, this is their best shot. Yeah. I've heard that there is a place where I can bring life back with me. But so when they die, she goes. And then obviously when she gets there to kill him, she finds him dead anyway, in a cave, like in a crevasse. And he had a diary and he was like, I promise I'm going to be coming home. I love you. I'm just writing these thoughts for my own well-being. But yeah, he dies. But then she does find that Seaborn Collective group. And then the film ends just as they unveil the light of these new little atom suns. Yeah. Crazy little shit. Yeah. And there's no science to this whatsoever.
It doesn't need to be. It's too good.
And it just blinks out.
Yeah.
Like that. That's how I see it.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of Mad Max. Instead of setting heat and dirt, sweat first land, it's freezing cold, chilly willy. Yeah. With frostpunk glacier ghouls instead of the polecats and all them dogs.
Yeah. Everyone's packing a meaty 2 inches.
I love it. I love me an apocalyptic film, mate. Love it. It's a balls to the wall action film as far as I'm concerned. And I think I might get a bit of heat on what I decide to give this chilly tale. But I see, because all I can see in my head, my simple pure boy mind, is like the complete reversal of Fury Road. It's kind of a road movie, isn't it? It's kind of fighting for the right thing. It's all of this, and it's like desolate land, these cool little... I love the idea of frostpunks and glacier ghouls. I love the naming of that. Big fan of that. I love her going out for one thing to get vengeance, then finding another thing, and then getting redemption as a result.
Last of Us, maybe.
Yeah. So let me cook. Let me cook.
I'll turn it up a little. Turn the heat up a little, man. Throw some salt in there.
This action-packed film, right? I would have a man who knows how to do it.
Okay.
George Miller.
Yeah.
I know.
Me love.
Mad Max Fury Road, it looks like. But how cool would that be in your filmography as a director?
Blue and icy white.
Yeah, you've got Mad Max Fury Road, red
and
orange,
orange,
hot.
yeah.
Other, reverse it. This film.
You're just thinking of the steel cases you could buy.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Oh.
And I am rock fucking hard.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
Meaty too.
And again, I sound like I'm just plagiarising a already established idea.
No, I think I plagiarised.
I totally am doing that. And starring in this George Miller film as the mum going out for frosty vengeance.
No, you can't.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah.
It's a sequel.
Charlize Theron. And do you know who her husband is? Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
Not hard.
It is.
Oh, for God's
Yeah,
sake.
because he gets killed off early, and it's
Has
like,
he got a
fuck you.
mask on?
Yeah, of course. You only see his eyes.
Instead of Mad Max, should we call him Sad Sal?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Okay. So it'd be a Miller film starring Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy again.
You call it Mad Max 2?
It's not a sequel. No, it's called Frozen Fred. No,
Jesus.
It's not. No, you still will give me heat for this title, I think.
Because it would be so vanilla.
Prepare to be disappointed.
It would be so rudimentary.
I would call the film Vit D Vengeance.
Oh, fuck me.
Dear Tom, I'm writing this letter to you, even though I know my words will never reach your ears. But they are better written down than stuck in my head. Today I buried Frank, next to George and Miller. They all asked where their dad was. I couldn't lie, Tom. I told them I didn't know. Now I'm on my way to you. I will fight the hordes of frost punks and ghost ghouls to get to you. To get answers. I deserve answers. I meant to say glacier ghouls, not ghost ghouls. That's the same fucking thing.
When your heart's not up,